Hello again, friends. This is Dan once again with another Bible topic slash remez. A remez, like Chuck Missler would describe it, is something that the rabbis would say is a hint of something deeper. Well, today the topic is Melchizedek, and I know that your first response is to say Gesundheit, but really Melchizedek is a really good name. It means either King of Righteousness, which I think is probably the correct one, or my King is righteousness. In the New King James Version, it's mentioned. He's mentioned 11 times. Genesis mentions him, Psalms, and also several times in Hebrews. He's called a prophet, priest, and king. Jesus is also called a prophet, priest, and king, and in fact, is called a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. Now, the first mention of Melchizedek is in Genesis 14:18, where he, as king of Salem, which later becomes Jerusalem, meets Abram, and this is before his name is changed to Abraham. And Abram is presenting him with a tithe after his victory over the four kings, Chedor, Laomer, and three other kings with equally hard names to pronounce, had conquered the five kingdoms, which among them were Sodom and Gomorrah. After paying tribute for 13 years, these five kings rebelled and fought against Chedorlaomer and his posse. This king, whose name Chedorlaomer reminds me of cheddar cheese. I like cheddar cheese. And this guy Chedorlaomer wins and carries off spoil and prisoners, including Lot, Abram's nephew. And this is not good for Chedorlaomer. When Abram heard, he gathered 318 of his servants who were trained for battle. This tells you that Abram was very wealthy. They overtook the four kings and beat them, and Abram got his nephew back and the spoils back. Afterwards, he presented the tithe to Melchizedek, who in turn gave him bread and wine, which is really the first communion mentioned. Melchizedek blesses Abram, and in Hebrews it brings out that the lesser is blessed by the greater. So Melchizedek is greater than Abraham in this. And the tribe of Levi was less than this order of Melchizedek because they were technically in the loins of Abram when he gave the tithe to Melchizedek. So Melchizedek is also mentioned in Psalms 110. I've got the link below. The priesthood and kingly lines were split up between Jacob's sons, the descendants of Levi, who got the priestly duties, and the kingly line of Judah. This is where the Messiah, Jesus, came through that tribe. Prophets, though, came from various tribes. However, when Jesus came, he combined all the positions once again into himself, and it'll be forever, according to this, he'll be the prophet, priest, and king after the order of Melchizedek. This is also confirmed in Psalms and Hebrews 7, verses 14 through 22. So who was this guy? Well, another great question. Some believe he was appearing to Abram as a theophany, which means really Jesus appearing in the Old Testament before he was actually born in Bethlehem. Now we know that these theophanies did happen. There's one of the ones that comes to mind first is where Jesus as a theophany appeared to Abram along with two angels, and then he sent the two angels on to rescue Lot and to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. Now there's people like Dr. Ken Johnson, whose video I've got linked below. He believes that the Melchizedekian priests began with Adam, continued through Seth, and so on, and ending with Abraham, the seventh priest, until Jesus fulfilled the role of Melchizedekian priesthood as the eighth and final priest. Abraham would have met Shem, Noah's son, who would have been the sixth priest at this event that I just mentioned earlier, where Melchizedek or Shem presented him with the bread and wine. Okay, so I tend to believe Ken Johnson is correct because he has researched the Dead Sea Scrolls and has documents to back his position up. It doesn't mean I'm right. Always remember Acts 17:11. Be like the Bereans who received the word with all readiness of mind, but they checked the scriptures daily to see whether those things were so. Well, what about Hebrews 7:1-3 that says he has no father or mother and without genealogy? Now, according to Dr. Johnson, this means that he couldn't confirm his genealogy in the same way a Levite priest would, who traces their ancestry down and they qualify as a Levite priest. This all is very interesting to me. I hope it is for you as well. I've got the links below, and may God richly bless you.